Hello and welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Oral Sciences, and we're joined by Dr. Jason Brown and Susan Christie, and they're here to answer any questions you have about the programme. If you've got any questions that aren't really about the programme, they're about funding accommodation, I'll pop some helpful links into the chat box. And we've also got an online postgraduate event coming up on the 7th of May, so that'd be a good place if you can't find the answer you're looking for. We're recording this session today, so don't panic if you miss anything, you'll be able to watch it back. And yeah, I think that covers all our housekeeping. So Jason, would you like to introduce yourself and then we can move to Susan?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Naomi. So yeah, Dr. Jason Brown, I'm the programme lead for the Oral Science MSc, and welcome to the Q&A session.
Hi, I'm Susan Christie. I'm the Programme Administrator for MSc Oral Sciences. I'm here to help with any non-academic questions, and once you start with us in September, I'm the go-to person to tell you where to be at what time and how to help you out.
Thank you. And Jason, would you like to give us an overview of the programme?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, as I say, my name is Dr. Jason Brown. I am the programme lead, but also the lead for various modules on the course. So I'll be kind of leading a lot of the laboratory-based modules that you'll be undertaken in semesters 1 and 2. I'm also one of the dissertation supervisors for semester 3. In terms of overview for the course, so this is a very non-clinical laboratory-based science master's degree. Okay, the whole premise of this module of this MSc course is to kind of teach you translational science relating to oral sciences in general. So it is a non-clinical degree, but we want to emphasize that we're trying to teach you basic science. How can you be a academic scientist if that is what you want to do when you graduate from the MSc course?
Right. And in terms of where the classes will be held, whereabouts are they typically set up?
So the classes will be based either at the University of Glasgow Dental School or Dental School and Hospital, which is based on Socky Hall Street, which is in the city centre of Glasgow. That's about half of your time will be spent there, and the other half of your time will be spent on the main campus of the University of Glasgow, which is in the west end of Glasgow, around a 20-30 minute walk from the dental school. So that'll be about half of your time split between the two buildings. It's around a 25-30 minute walk, but it is very easily accessible via train links. Also, we have an underground subway, and also there's bus routes as well. So it's very easy to move between the two buildings.
Perfect. And something we're always asked, and I know it's a really difficult question to answer, but we're always asked how many hours per week, days per week should a student expect to be in classes?
Sure. So there is in semester 1 you'll be doing 60 credits worth of modules, and in semester 2 it will be the same 60 modules. Tends to be around 60 to 100 hours within semester 1 and semester 2. So that works out at about 10 to 15 hours per week that you'll actually be in, either being taught lectures, it'll be tutorials, laboratory sessions, but there will be a lot of emphasis on sort of student-driven learning. So what we tend to always say is for every 1 hour of teaching that we give you as a teaching cohort, you would tend to spend about 5 to 10 hours of your own time doing background reading, either preparing for lectures, tutorials, workshops, etc., or completing your summative assessments or your formative assessments over the course of the first 2 semesters. And then in semester 3, that'll be your dissertation period. So this is also a 60 credit course or 60 credit module. And this is where you will need to generate your own dissertation relating to a certain field within oral science. That could either be a laboratory-based project or what we call a dry project, which will be kind of like an essay, like a literature review. And in that, there'll be sort of regular meetings with your supervisor for your dissertations. But in terms of teaching, in semesters 1 and 2, tends to be about 10 to 15 hours per week. You'll actually be in either on the dental school or on the main campus being taught by myself or the rest of the teaching staff.
Right. And for classes, we've been asked if students are likely to receive the teaching material beforehand so they can review anything.
Yeah, so the platform that we use is called Moodle, and what we tend to always do is upload a lot of the material beforehand, whether that be the lecture slides or pre-sessional or laboratory reading that we expect the students to do before the session. So we will obviously introduce Moodle to you all when you start the course, and we'll be on hand to navigate you through the first few months being able to use that platform. But yes, there will be a lot of material provided beforehand, and as I said earlier, this is a very student-driven master's course, so we do expect a lot of the students to basically do their own background reading around certain topics and disciplines within what we're teaching you.
Perfect. And you mentioned it's quite a theory-based programme, but is there any practical work?
Yes, so as I say, I'm the module lead for two of the modules. That one runs in semester one, which is called Oral Science Research Skills, and a second one which runs in semester two, which is Advanced Oral Science Research Skills. So in these sessions, there will be a lot of laboratory, basically a lot of laboratory work needed for those modules. So in semester one, you'll be doing around, I think, 10 to 15 hours, or spending 10 to 15 hours in laboratory. And obviously, I appreciate a lot of you will be dental professionals, clinicians with very limited laboratory skills, or at least laboratory-based backgrounds, and we're always going to be on hand to help you with that. And then in semester two, the advanced research skills module, you'll be spending, I think it's a 3 or 4 week period within the labs, essentially doing around 10 to 15 hours of lab work. So yes, we are a very theory-based MSc course. As I say, it's a non-clinical MSc course, but we are trying to teach you the basics of laboratory skills that you can apply to oral sciences, but also any other field within the related to dentistry.
Perfect. And you kind of touched on it earlier, but can you tell us a wee bit more about the research project, just how students go about choosing a title, supervisor, things like that?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, as I say, this is semester 3 is when you will do your research dissertation. We are active researchers, so we pride ourselves on teaching sort of research-driven science or research-based science to all of you. Myself, the co-program lead, who is Dr. Chris Delaney. We also have Dr. Jennifer Malcolm. We're all active researchers within the fields of microbiology, immunology, and molecular biology. So what we tend to do for research dissertations is essentially align you with PhD students that are within our research group. So we have a research group called the Oral Science Research Group, which is based at the Glasgow Dental School. And we have a team of around 10 to 12 PhD students that are doing laboratory-based projects. And what we tend to do is align MSc dissertations with the projects that are already going on for those students that are doing PhDs within the research group.
Perfect. And in terms of assessment, what sort of assessments should students expect?
So we pride ourselves on having a wide range of different assessments. So there will be some assessments very similar to probably what you did during your undergraduate clinical degrees. So there'll be things like exams and essay writing, but we also have a wide variety of other summative assessments that we utilize to assess our students. So for example, off the top of my head, there's things like you'll be having to create a website for a certain therapeutic or diagnostic relating to oral science. There are other things like oral presentations. We'll in semester 1 run a range of journal clubs. So journal clubs is where you'll be working in small groups discussing research papers within a particular field, and you'll receive marks for how well you participate in those discussions. On the top of my head, there's a few other assessments, things like laboratory reports, writing scientific articles, writing abstracts for scientific articles, and then also for semester 2 in the laboratory, you'll be generating a lab book or a lab portfolio where you're documenting all of the methods that you're using within the lab sessions. So we do pride ourselves on having a wide variety of different summative assessments to essentially assess our students.
Right. And there's optional courses within the programme. When should students expect to choose them? Is that right at the beginning, or do they get a bit of time before they do that?
So I will have an introduction session for all of the students. That tends to be around the third week of September. So once all of the students have enrolled and started the MSc, I will have an introductory session which will highlight the optional courses for semesters 1 and 2. So you will have essentially 50 of the 60 credits in semester 1 will be compulsory modules, and you'll be able to select one of 2 optional courses in semester 1, and then in semester 2, 40 of the 60 credits will be compulsory courses, and you'll be able to select a 20 credit course. One of 2 20 credit courses is an optional module. So in the introductory session, what I will do is I'll introduce what those optional courses are, and then you have around about a week to 2 weeks to decide what your optional course is. So probably by the end of September, you'll need to decide what your optional course is for semester 1. And then what we will do is introduce semester 2 optional courses a bit later in semester 1 so that you can decide before semester 2 starts. So you tend to need to get your options back to us by the end of the year. So that would be around middle to late December.
Thanks. And what could a student do to prepare for starting the MSc in Oral Sciences? Is there any recommended reading or things you would recommend?
In brief, probably not. All I would say is you just need to have a look at the website. So you will all have access to the website, and the website does include a lot of detail relating to what the whole premise is for the MSc course. In addition to the modules that we run for the course, you'll be able to click on them. You'll be able to see what the intended learning outcomes are, what the aims are for each of the modules. You'll also see links to the module leads for each of those modules, and you'll be able to actually go away and maybe have a bit of a read around what we do as a research group. So as I say, we have a team of microbiologists, immunologists, molecular biologists, and we are active researchers in the field. So all I would suggest is have a look on the website and maybe have a bit of background reading on myself and the rest of the teaching staff, and see what we do as researchers, because that will give you an idea of what we're going to teach you in this research-driven MSc course.
Thank you. And in terms of careers after graduation, what do graduates of the MSc go on to do?
So a wide variety of things is my short answer. So we have had over 100 students come through the MSc course over the last 6 or 7 years, I believe. So that is quite a lot of students, and a lot of those students have gone on to do a wide range of different things. So some of the students come to the UK to do this MSc course and go back into teaching roles in the home institutes, the home universities. We've had over 10, I think it's probably closer to 15, 20 students that have gone on to do further postgraduate study, whether that be clinical MScs or PhDs. So we've had a number of PhD students essentially start projects. One started within our research group. Only recently, it started in January. He was a student that completed the course last year. And we've also had research assistants that have come through the labs, come through the MSc course, sorry, and actually worked in our labs for a few years. And basically, the world is your oyster after this course. What we're trying to teach you is how can you be a research academic? You know, how can you conduct your own research within a laboratory environment? So we're trying to create scientists out of this MSc course. So a wide range of different things that you could do after the course.
Amazing. And I think this is maybe someone trying to decide if this is the programme that's right for them. They've asked, is oral sciences similar to oral pathology?
The short answer to that is not really. So you will learn a variety of different, or you will learn from a variety of different clinicians that teach on the course, and we will cover certain aspects of pathology within some of that teaching, but oral pathology is more of a clinical laboratory-based course that you would be doing. So we're trying to teach you kind of basic science relating to the disciplines that I've already mentioned today. So it isn't really oral pathology as such, even though there will be certain aspects of oral pathology that you'll learn over the course of your first 2 semesters within the teaching.
Advice. Do you have any advice for an MSc student starting in September? I know that postgraduate study is really different to undergraduate study. So if you get any advice, be it about academic or just out with.
So I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. It is very different to undergraduate degrees, whereby we teach, well, myself, I teach on a wide range of different undergraduate degrees in addition to being the program lead for this MSc course. And we do teach a lot of kind of textbook science. It's probably the best way of putting it to our undergrads, whereby the undergrads can go away, read a textbook, basically recite aspects of that textbook and pass an exam. In the MSc course, we're teaching you kind of out with the textbook. You know, as I've said a few times, this is sort of research-driven science that we're teaching you. So it's ever-changing. So all I would say is come prepared to think outside the box. You know, it's not undergraduate degrees, it is very student-driven. So that is one of my key things that I say to all of the new students, and I'll emphasize this again in the introductory session for everyone, is that this is very student driven. You know, there is only going to be, depending on numbers, you know, a small cohort that we get to know on a very personal level, the teaching staff. So, you know, bounce ideas off us, talk to us. We want to hear, you know, a lot more about what you want to do in the future. So, you know, please kind of think outside the box with regards to oral science in general. The only other things are come prepared and hit the ground running. So there will be a couple of weeks where we're going to let you settle in, and then you're going to start to be bombarded with lots and lots of assessments. So all I can say is hit the ground running, be prepared to work hard, and those students that are prepared to work hard will succeed.
Thank you. What about you, Susan? You must spend a lot of time speaking to students. Have you got any advice?
Yeah, I mean, on the academic side, as Dr. Brown has said there, it's very much a case of not just turning up to lectures, but doing the reading beforehand to prepare, and then the work after that. And for every 1 hour's teaching, you're looking about 10 hours of self-supported study. So you'll find that you're incredibly busy. It's very full on, but you will have time, obviously, to explore Glasgow and the lovely city that it is and the friendly people that are here. And I think it's good that there's a mixture of classes on the main campus in the West End and at the dental school, so you can get a taste of joining all the different clubs and support services at the main university, as well as being around that environment of the dental hospital, which is a working NHS hospital. I would say that students should prepare themselves for a cold winter in Glasgow, and probably a wet winter. But one of the things that was touched on earlier was about how our cohort is perhaps smaller than some of the other PGT programs. So there would be 100 students here. And because of that, there is much more of a family and peer support environment. You'll all get to know each other, and you'll all get to work through the program together and share your experiences. So hopefully when you join us, you'll never feel alone or not part of the group. And a wee bit of that is about you being brave and speaking up from the very first time that you join us. There will be a lot of oral presentations or expecting you to share your opinions in the journal clubs, and it's really important that you do that, because you'll have a supportive team about you that want to listen and want to help.
Yeah, one thing that I remember someone saying a couple of years back was that you've applied and you've been given an offer, that someone has seen something in your application that you're capable of doing it. So kind of have a bit of confidence in yourself that you can, and I think that's quite a nice thing to take away. Well, we've actually covered all our questions that we've had submitted beforehand, and I don't see any that have come through the chat box there. There was a lot of information that we've shared in such a short space of time. So I don't know, Jason or Susan, is there anything that you don't think we've touched upon that you would like to sort of take the next few minutes to just mention, or are you quite happy to leave it there?
I think we've covered everything, and in addition to this recording, I think the website, as I've said before, is very detailed, and I'll make sure that this is up to date over the course of the next few months as well. If there's anything that's perhaps out of date, or if there's any modules that we no longer have as an option. So all I would say is have a look through the recording for any of those students that weren't able to make the live session. Have a look at the website. and I'm more than happy to take any questions that the students may have. My direct email is on the website, so please feel free to send me an email afterwards, and I'd be more than happy to help.
Perfect. And I will mention, I've popped the link in there, but the email address for the administration team, like if you have any questions afterwards, do either get in touch direct with the administration team or Jason. And they are fantastic. I ask silly questions all the time and always get an answer, and no judgment. Well, Susan, I don't know if you get anything that you would like to add, or are you quite happy that we've covered it
Nothing
all?
really to add, except people from Glasgow are very warm and welcoming, so we look forward to welcoming you to Glasgow and the University of Glasgow.
Well, on that note, I think that's a nice spot to wrap up on. So thanks to our panel for your time today, and thanks to those that have joined the session live and are watching it back or in the recording. And we hope to see you all in September. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.